Dinala ni President Magsaysay sila dito sa Mindanao as agrarian reform beneficiaries by way of EDCOR.
Yes.
Tapos, na-carp din sila.
Yeah.
So, anong feeling? Kami nga beneficiary. Tapos kami magiging objects ng carp. That is already maybe anti-competitive and it's a disincentive. So, let's finish it once and for all and then we must let market forces work after that. Of course, with the intervention of government for the purpose of having food security at all times. Let's remember that we only import 10% of our rice requirements, but we are still the largest importer of rice in the whole world. It's a function, po, Pastor, of our population, and there's a phenomenon that the per capita consumption of rice of a Filipino is increasing. Kumakain tayo ng mas maraming kanin kada Pilipino year on.
Would that indicate, Mr. Secretary, that it's a failure of the agrarian reform program?
There are success stories. There are failures. I cannot judge the whole program as a failure. We must replicate the successes. And then we must restudy the program to make it sustainable. What you have now is tension. Tension between proposed beneficiaries, tension between those who are objects of agrarian reform, no? Unless in certain areas. Sometimes it doesn't work too well, particularly when the beneficiary now will be the target in the future.
Because something is wrong with the agrarian reform program, I think. It states land for the landless. So if you're a landless person, you might have a chance to own land, even if you're not a farmer.
You're correct, Hoy. Also, look, if you ask a farmer, perhaps, gusto mo ba in certain areas, no? And I'm sure this will be true. Gusto mo ba na sa iyo ang lupa, makipagsapalaran ka, or maging empleyado ka, na may sweldo ka, buwan-buwan, may healthcare ka, may minimum wage ka, may benefits ka sa corporate farm? Baka marami hong lumundag sa una. Sa pangalawa, rather, na baka mas certain yung sweldo at may libreng edukasyon yung anak. So, we must temper it with the fact that land must be made productive for it to be a national tool and not merely an object of security without being productive. And it is also the fault of several landed families that their attachment to land on the converse side is as strong as the want to have land of people who cannot make it productive. It goes both ways. Lots of idle land because by families who are landed and not being used is also the same sin as a person who will really not use land who does not have it. Goes both ways.
Because when the government tried to cure the tenancy problem, it did not, in fact, award the lands to the actual tillers.
No, they put in some from the other places. Yeah, that is correct, ho. And another item of resistance, unfortunately, is the fact that the Constitution enshrines just compensation. In Taiwan and in Japan, for example, I think the landowners were paid, in certain instances, double the value of the land. So there's no debate. Here, there is a problem with valuation and with the type of repayment that you get. I think that is a big problem.
By the way, you mentioned Ramon Magsaysay, one of the best presidents we ever had, the most beloved president which the Filipino people ever had. And he was a defense minister. You're saying in some of your speeches that being a defense minister has prepared you to face the challenge of the presidency. What is in the Defense Department that makes you prepared for greater tasks?
Well, sir, with President Magsaysay, really, the biggest threat at the time of the Cold War was really the threat of a communist takeover of the country. That was the the biggest issue facing the Philippines at the time. And you have to remember, during the time of President Magsaysay, the hooks were as near as Antipolo and Rizal. And in what is EDSA now, Highway 54, that was an ambush site, no? As close as that. So the Filipino people really needed somebody who would keep them safe. And the threat that President Magsaysay faced at the time is drastically different from the threat that we face now. Now, then it was a conventional, when compared to today's war, a bit more conventional in battle, no, than now. And there was only a single group. That was the Communist Party of the Philippines, the Hukbong Magpapalaya ng Bayan. Today, though, there's a big difference. You face faceless threats. In what you call fourth-generation warfare, it's probably a single person that is the object of a lot of problems. The best example is the most powerful country in the world cannot put into custody one person, Osama bin Laden, up to now. He continues to elude the most powerful country in the world. And he continues to be a symbol of so many violent activities which occur worldwide. That is the face that you face now. Now, as Secretary of National Defense, your job is twofold. Number one is really to have a broad grasp of what national security is. And national security is not merely a physical defense of your country vis-a-vis an invader or an internal insurgent. National security involves your economic security. It involves health, because pandemics are part of the international security discussions. Economic security, economic espionage is done by countries, was being done by countries, and it's part of your portfolio. Environmental security, because people have said, Pastor, even I think in one conference in Davos, that in 20 years' time, water will be very scarce. And the next wars will not be fought because of land, but because probably of drinking water. I mean, it's really something that we should really consider right now. So, the concept of national security is so broad as to involve so many elements. Environmental security, for one, your marine resources. Philippines is the center of marine biodiversity in the whole world. Yet, you continue to face cyanide fishing, poaching by international vessels, and the like. It's part of your portfolio. Secondly, as NDCC chairman, you have a working relationship with almost every department of government as a coordinating agency, and you get to view the Philippines from different perspectives, from Batanes to the Turtle Islands, from different perspectives. And so it's good preparation. Secondly, maturity of judgment. Any judgment you make may involve a life, may involve conflict. So it matures you in terms of judgment making. Thirdly, you manage institutions. And the most institutional of all government agencies, believe it or not, is the Armed Forces of the Philippines. It works according to standard protocols. It works because it is a big agency and it has a potential to unleash a massive amount of force. Those institutions must work. If not, you diffuse your force, or you move it in an area where you cannot take it back anymore. And to remaneuver an institution as big as that is not easy. And it will cause utmost confusion. So those types of things really prepare you for the type of challenges that the President may face.
Well said. Thank you so much, Secretary. Secretary Mel said, we will be pausing for a break. When we come back, we will be entertaining your questions, your text messages, especially for our very special guest, Secretary Gilbert GIBO Teodoro. We will be pausing for a break. Meanwhile, you can send in your text messages, your questions, your queries by using the numbers that are flashed on your screen. So let's listen to Sister Stephanie Barra as she sings Ode to the Father. And Brother Edward Adahar is going to follow with his song, You Raise Me Up. Let's give glory to the Father as we listen to these songs.